For centuries, man and horse have lived and worked side by side. But it's only recently that we've been able to appreciate just how incredible these creatures really are. Through years of selective breeding, we've witnessed the creation of elite athletes, the kind of horses that will run in this year's Grand National. But just how can an animal the size of a cow exceed speeds of over 40 miles an hour? I'm here with Junior at David Pipe's stables in Somerset, and the first thing that strikes you about these beasts, if it's not its snout as it gives you a headbutt, is the sheer size of them. I mean, this is a thoroughbred racing horse, a relatively small one, but it still weighs somewhere between 500 and 600 kilograms, which is actually about the same as a Formula One racing car. If you could somehow open the bonnet on a horse, you'd find down here a huge rib cage, and inside that an enormous pair of lungs. They're almost 2 meters long, and they have an immense internal surface area, so big in fact that if you could theoretically open them out, they'd occupy an area about the same as 10 tennis courts. This is Graduation Night, trained by Jamie Snowden. Now, as in a car, fuel efficiency is the key during a race. Now, the horse's fuel is oxygen, but unlike humans, a horse can't actually breathe in through its mouth. It can only breathe in through its nostrils, which is why they're so big. The oxygen makes its way down into these enormous lungs, which during a race can expand and contract up to 150 times a minute. So to finish the Grand National, a horse will breathe in more than 21,000 litres of air. That's the same as an adult human breathes in 2 whole days. The oxygen has to make its way to the muscles, and it does that by being carried in the blood, which is pumped around the horse by its huge heart, bigger than a volleyball. Now, at the moment, Junior's heart will be beating at something like 25 to 30 beats a minute, but in the race, that could reach a staggering 240 beats per minute. So, between now and now, that huge volleyball-sized heart will have beat 4 times, and it will have pumped around 75 gallons of blood around the body. Just as in racing cars or racing motorcycles, power is the key. This is the bicep here, and the whole leg works a little bit like a pogo stick. It has to sustain what is really the equivalent of the weight of a small compact car on each leg. But as it flexes, this bicep muscle stores energy in its elasticity, and as the leg buckles, that stored energy is released, and that catapults the horse forward for the next stride. And this action is so efficient that it actually increases the power of that muscle about 100 times. Let's move to the back legs. Here you have 25 kilos, the equivalent of the weight of a small child, of pure muscle wedged onto each leg. A horse is, in essence, rear-wheel drive. This delivers immense driving power to the back legs, which is necessary for racing and speed, obviously, but also because it has to jump. I'm always very nervous around the back of horses. In mid-air, the horse is in a state of suspension. When it's galloping, it will take one breath perfectly in time with one stride. But when it jumps, it holds its breath as it takes off and only breathes in again when it lands. We have all the elements here for a truly fantastic thoroughbred machine, but of course this is racing, so you need a little extra something, the red mist, the va-va-voom. Perhaps the most incredible thing about these horses is that they have a kind of natural turbocharger. The equine circulatory system allows red blood cells to be stored in the spleen, which can be released on demand. This means that during strenuous exercise, the horse can call on reserve red cells to help supply extra oxygen to its muscles, just like having your own built-in turbo switch during the race. It is quite amazing. These horses have to be nurtured from birth. They are fabulously well-honed athletes with every single body part working to the peak of efficiency so that they can push the boundaries of speed and endurance. But on race day, that is not really what you see. You see simply this, a beautiful, perfect specimen, working hard, doing what it does best and what it seems to enjoy, racing. And you love those. Any good? Not bad, actually.